Have you ever had a hankering to live by the sword and command one of the strongest militaries in EU4? If so, you'll probably be looking to try your hand at playing Japan, a nation with a powerful military and great potential. Their beginning is tricky, but especially with the introduction of common sense into the game, Japan is stronger than ever, and this video will explain how you can become the next shogun of the mighty Japanese Empire. Anyone who's played in the Holy Roman Empire will find the initial landscape of Japan quite familiar. In 1444, Japan is a country fractured by a civil war called the Sengoku Jidai, where many Japanese feudal lords known as daimyo are battling for control of the country. How this plays in the game is that each of the daimyo are vassals beneath the Ashikaga Shogunate, or Japan as it's called in the game. As a daimyo, you get a casus belli called Sengoku, which allows you to fight against other vassals and take their land. But be wary, if you gain too much land, the Ashikaga Shogunate will become fearful of your power and will strike before you are ready to lead a rebellion to take the title of shogun for yourself. Fighting in the Sengoku Jidai requires you to be a master of diplomacy, with flexible alliances and loyalties only to yourself. Be wary, as your allies will ultimately lead you to either your triumph or failure, depending on which wars you decide to take part in. As well, the AI loves to decide for itself when you are strong enough to take on the shogun, which can result in a premature demise or time-expensive setback. Conversely, if you play as the Ashikaga Shogunate from the beginning, you simply need to strategically decide when to annex a country as a vassal, biding your time until you can eat each of the daimyo, and take control of the island that way. Following a successful Sengoku, you should seek to claim the title of shogun for yourself and tag change into Japan. This may seem ironic if you started as one of the daimyo, especially since the only trace of this in the newly formed Japan is in the name of your dynasty. All the same, Japan's national ideas are more powerful than the daimyos, and you'll need them if you're going to expand past the island. Your initial goal should be to try to capture Korean land, which you will almost certainly get missions for. If you are not strong enough to take on Korea initially, due to Korea's potential alliances, especially with Ming China, you can bide your time and develop your country, especially allowing for an exceptionally strong, or eventually allowing for an exceptionally strong army and economy by the time of invasion. The Nippon trade mode is wealthy indeed, almost as much as Beijing, which you can use to fund your powerful armies. Once you've established a foothold in the mainland, you can basically leave your troops there while your dominant navies protect the homeland from basically any threats. Establishing a foothold in Korea is beneficial for a number of reasons, not the least of which being that you can now begin to form alliances with other by-now powerful nations, which you can use to bring down Ming China if Ming has not collapsed in your game already, which is entirely likely, actually. If you've developed enough, your troops should be strong enough to hold their own against the Chinese, while you begin to carve up the rich lands of mainland China. In the meantime, you should begin to look to the south and begin to colonize, in hopes of finding a European country to westernize off of. After completing the westernization process, Japan can become a dominant world power stronger than the likes of Britain or Spain in terms of naval and colonial presence, whilst fielding even more powerful armies. For idea groups, you should look at ones that will improve your armies, as they will be exceptionally useful to you. I personally picked quality ideas, because it not only improves your troops, but also improves your navy, which is something that's actually extremely useful to Japan. I do not, however, recommend taking naval ideas, in spite of all of this, because naval ideas does not give a benefit to your land troops, who are going to need all the power they can get if you're going to survive westernization and defeating Ming China, if that is an issue for you. Other potential idea groups include the Defensive Ideas group to gain an additional 15% morale of armies, which is something that Japan actually lacks, or Offensive Ideas, which can further improve your force limit and discipline to extreme levels. This is because Japan gains a plus 10% to discipline as part of their traditions, which is extremely useful. By the end of the tree, you will have a plus 15% to combat ability, and if you've taken quantity or quality ideas, you will gain an additional plus 10% from there, allowing for infantry that are plus 25% better than usual. Japan is one of the most interesting countries to play as, whether as the shogun or the daimyo, with great potential from beginning to end. How will you leave your mark on Asia? If you liked the video, be sure to like and subscribe. If you'd like to see a guide for another country or want a specific mechanic explained within EU4, be sure to leave a comment below and you may just get that guide. I've been Darkfire Slide, and thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.